point of badges, so they are back home. I think you are much more well dressed than me, so we can start if you wish, guys.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
سلامات أولا سلامات.
الله يسلمك الله
get
يسلمك
well soon يعني.
آمين يا رب العالمين. أمة محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. جزاكم الله خير. So please, you may start, gentlemen, and I'll be here.
Yeah, sir. Sir, welcome to the National Day event, sir. This is 50th National Day we are celebrating, sir, today. ICAI Muscat chapter is delighted to invite, welcome Mr. K. Raghu, sir, Mr. Nasir Hamoud Al-Rawai, Mr. Fatih Al-Barusi, Dr. Haldia ji, and C. Ajay Kumar ji from UK chapter. And now I request C.A. Prabhu to have the welcome note. Mr. Prabhu.
Thank you, Raviji. Good morning, one and all. Assalamu alaikum. Chief guest for the event, C.A. K. Raghu, past President ICAI, guest of honor, Ustad Nasir Al-Rawawi, founder and board member, Omani Chartered Accountant Association, Ustad Fatih Al-Balushi, CFO, Oman Cement Company, speakers of the day, Dr. Ashok Haldia ji, past secretary ICAI New Delhi, C.A. Ajay Kumar, chairman UK chapter ICAI, C.A. Davis Kalukaran ji, founder chairperson Muscat chapter, past chairpersons Yashpal Mehta ji, C.A. Umesh Kumar ji, C.A. P.R. Subramaniam ji, C.A. Anuradha Venkatakrishnan ji, C.A. Asta Rangan ji, C.A. Bhavani Prasad ji, C.A. Mubin ji, C.A. Deepak Dikshit ji, invitees, guests, members of the Muscat chapter, members of the overseas chapters, and my fellow managing committee members. On behalf of the Muscat chapter, ICAI, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you all for today's 50th National Day celebrations and success journey webinar. Our congratulations to His Majesty Sultan Haitham bin Tariq and to great people of Oman on the occasion of the Golden National Day. 50 years is a milestone for everyone and for a nation which has been painstakingly built and nurtured by late His Majesty Sultan Qaboos bin Said. It is far more special. This day assumes a lot of importance for both Omanis and the expatriates. After having been away from home for the past 21 years, it is natural that one gets emotional in the country of his choice and stay. As it is offered so much for us, I am grateful to. My stay in this country has been given me a sense of everlasting contentment. Thank you, Your Majesty, Sultan Haitham bin Tariq, and appreciation to my dear Omani friends and my employers. May His Majesty living long with full of cheer, vigor, and great health, and continue his visionary leadership whereby everyone flourishes in this renaissance. Wish you all very happy National Day. Welcome each one of you for this National Day celebrations and success journey webinar. We have with us two Omani gentlemen and the guests, and we have two Indian dignitaries from India and one from UK. Let us hear from their insights of the success story as we unravel further. Thank you for all the support and continued patronage to the Muscat chapter ICAI. Stay connected, stay engaged with the chapter, and stay ahead. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you one and all. Over to you, Raviji.
Thank you, sir. Now we'll play the national anthem as a token of celebration, start of the celebration. National anthem now. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. This is the 50th National Day of Oman. During the pandemic time, also the Oman has been got decorated by the flags and the lightings. So we'll share the one small video of the celebration done in Oman this year. So I'm sharing the another video for everybody's perusal. I think that wait, give me 2 minutes. I'm just here. Okay. Stop. How to share this? Give me 2 minutes, sir. It's technical error, sir. How to share the sound? Basic, Discord, iPhone, post attendee, display presentation. Are you able to see? Sir, are you able to see?
No, but
Prabhu, nahi?
नहीं. Yeah, double click.
Okay. Wait. So optimize video. Try to place the file. I don't need to share. Here, my desktop. Here. Then I will put it. Give me 2 minutes, sir. Here. Okay.
سلام يا السار يا طوفي بمد العين والشوفي بأبيض أحمر أخضر سلام الحي لحيانا سلام يا السار يا طوفي بمد العين والشوفي بأبيض أحمر أخضر سلام الحي لحيانا تشيلك بالفخار عيون يا راية تعتليها الكون حماك السيف والخنجر ومجد انتي ميزانه حماك السيف والخنجر ومجد انتي ميزانه حيانا غصن سلم البلد ظله نشر سلمه على الملة بصيت أعمال نتباخر وفاح الطيب بالبانة غصن سلم البلد ظله نشر سلمه على الملة بصيت أعمال نتباخر وفاح الطيب بالبانة كثير الناس محتارة في حب عمان الدارة محتارة وهو واضح في أسراره يقول عمان وجدانه وهو واضح في أسراره يقول عمان وجدانه سلام الحي لحيانا سلام سلام أخضر سلام الحي لحيانا
Thank you, sir. Hope you enjoyed. Prabhu,
Yes, yes. Thank you very much, Ravi.
Yeah. Okay. Now, Now next is sir. Now I request Sanil Sir Varghese to introduce our chief guest, Mr. K. Raghu.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this National Day event. My task here is to introduce our dear past chairman, past president of ICAI, K. Raghu. Actually, C.A. Raghu is a former president of ICAI. He was a president during the year 2014-15. He qualified as a chartered accountant in the year 1990. He is also a honorary member of the Institute of Certified Public Accountants. He is currently senior partner of Raghu and Company, a leading chartered accountant firm in Bangalore. He was in Central Council member from the year 2007 for 3 consecutive terms, and he became vice president of the institute in the year 2013-14, and then became the president in 2014-15. During his career, he served as director of Indian Overseas Bank, board member, International Federation of Accountants, New York, member Audit Committee, International Federation of Accountants, chairman CRS Committee of ICAI, board member Confederation of Asia and Pacific Accountants, technical advisor SAFA, chairman XBRL India. He has been an expert in various startup ecosystems. I have limited my introduction to a few minutes. So, Raghu sir, if I have omitted certain key areas, my apologies. Welcome, sir. You can take over the session.
Now, thank you, Mr. Sanilji. Now I request Professor to have the keynote address to the members. So, unmute yourself.
Raghuji, please unmute. Please unmute.
Thank you, Ravi. Good afternoon to all the eminent dignitaries present here. I deem it an honor and privilege to be amongst you this morning on the occasion of the National Celebration Day of Oman. And I'm extremely thankful to my good friend, Mr. Ramanand Prabhu, for having invited me to be a part of this virtual program. And I know Mr. Ramanand Prabhu for many years, maybe 3 decades, when Mr. Prabhu and myself, we joined CA together in Bangalore. And he has been kind enough to stay in touch with me. And whenever I visited Muscat, He has been very hospitable and he used to take care of me. Thank you, Mr. Ramanand Prabhu, for the excellent work you're doing as the chairman of the Muscat chapter of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. And of course, Muscat chapter has been doing extremely well under the dynamic leadership of so many, members of our profession. Like we had Mr. Davis, I'm able to see Anuradha, Mubin, so many past chairmen of the Muscat, all the past chairmen have done an excellent job. My compliments to each one of them on this special occasion. I also would like to recognize the presence of Mr. Nadir Nasser, founder, board member of OCA, then Fatih Al-Balushi, CFO Oman Cement, who has been kind enough to join us. Dr. Ashok Haldia, former secretary of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, and again another dynamic gentleman who is responsible for creating so many overseas chapters for the Institute across the world. C. Ajay Kumar, chairman of the UK chapter of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, Mr. Ravi Dera, and the entire team Muscat. Muscat has been doing excellent job for the cause of the profession. And I feel that on this special occasion, on the 50th year, it's a very important milestone for all the Omanis and also for the national secretary in Oman. I can only say congratulations and wish you all the best on this special occasion. And having been in Oman, I think each one of you have a responsibility to see that you protect the interests of this nation. Try to see how best you're able to support the local government as professionals, because they place a lot of trust on us. And I'm sure, I'm very confident that the members of our profession would do their job extremely well. That would help not only Oman, but the entire world as a whole. Friends, I've visited Muscat many times, a beautiful city. What I like in Muscat is that when you drive down the highway, the roads there, the colorful lights on the buildings, really makes Muscat different. And I always remember, I just now saw Ravi sharing a video of the various main roads of Muscat, the building where the legislature meets. All the colorful buildings still remembers a good time we had at Muscat when I visited Muscat many times. I'm definitely looking forward to meet all of you once again, maybe once the pandemic is over. We all pray God and wish that the pandemic, gets over as early as possible. Friends, having said this, I can only say that the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India set up a chapter in Muscat in the year 2008, and they've been doing an excellent job since then, trying to help the members of a profession to be updated on the developments taking place in the profession. And I would like to say that in the year 2007, when we signed a MOU with the College of Banking and Financial Studies, Oman, we did an excellent job in trying to support the members and students of our profession. It was again renewed in 2011. And I'm happy to state that currently we have an examination center in the city of Oman. So students who want to write the CA examination can write the exams from Oman. And we are constantly having a dialogue with the Ministry of Commerce and Industry for setting up the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Oman. I'm sure that will become a reality, and the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India will provide all the support to set up an institute in Oman. And right now, currently, we are providing the digital learning hub for all the members of CBFS Oman. And our relationship with Oman, the Muscat chapter of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, is extremely good. And I would like to compliment the current chairman, Mr. Ramanand Prabhu, and the entire dynamic team for the good work that they're doing. Friends, on this happy occasion, I think as professionals, each one of us have to introspect. What is it in store for us? We never expected the pandemic 7-8 months before, but today we're all in the midst of a pandemic. We're all meeting virtually. This has become the new normal. Today, online education is a new normal. People are able to do a lot of things, sitting online. In a city like Bangalore, which is the hub for the IT companies for the world, the entire employees are working from home. Work from home has become very common. Chartered accountants are trying to see if they're able to offer their services online. So every profession is innovating, every business is innovating, and you're seeing the kind of shift that is taking place in India with a digital transformation taking place today. Most of the purchases, people are making it online. Now we just had Diwali and the New Year is coming up. We find that a lot of traction is happening where goods and services are being offered on the internet, and they become extremely popular. This has become the new trend. Digitization has become the new trend. And at this point of time, we as chartered accountants, I think we are part of this transformation. We are part of this digital revolution. I think it's essential for us to keep in mind the way the businesses are changing, how we as professionals can contribute to the growth and development of the business. Here, I just thought I'll share a few tips which each one of you as professionals, if we have to become successful, how exactly we should go about. Yes, all of us have passed the Chartered Accountants examination, which is one of the most toughest examination. I still remember during my visits to the Gulf region, because Gulf, we are having the maximum number of CAs, overseas CAs in the Gulf region, whether it's Dubai, whether it's Abu Dhabi, Muscat, Kuwait, Doha. I've seen and interacted with many chartered accountants in all the Gulf region. We have more than 10,000 people working in the Gulf region. I had the opportunity of meeting a CFO of Etisalat, a leading telecom player in Abu Dhabi. He told me, Mr. Raghu, we have chartered accountants coming from various countries, but we prefer the chartered accountants from India because of their high quality of work, because of the fact that they follow ethical practices. We feel that the Indian chartered accountants are the best, and that is the reason why in Etisalat we have maximum number of CAs from the Institute of from India. So that goes to prove that every country is looking at Indian chartered accountants because of their caliber, and to live up to the expectations of all the stakeholders. I think each one of us should try to see how best we can contribute to the growth and development of this nation. And all of you being in Oman, yes, there's a need for you to see how best you can contribute to the growth and development of Oman. And Mr. Raman Prabhu was telling me that a new legislation will be coming in April 21, where VAT is being introduced. I think each one of us as professionals should try to see how we can assist the government in the smooth implementation of VAT. I think all of you are aware, 2 years back when the government of India introduced GST, our profession played a very important role in a smooth transition from VAT to GST. I think we can help the government in trying to see how VAT can be successful in Oman. And for this, yes, certain amount of preparation is required. We need to train ourselves. We need to understand the new law. We need to make our clients understand, and the companies where you're working, as how they can move to the new tax regime, because Oman has not been used to a tax regime. And when you get into a new tax regime, you'll have a lot of challenges. You need to convince your customers. You need to comply with the local laws. You need to strengthen your compliance mechanism. Your accounting software needs to be changed. I think all of us can play an important role there. Friends, here on this occasion, I can only say that we need to specialize. Today, specialization is the order of the day. Like in the medical profession, just having MBBS is not sufficient. You need to specialize in neurology. You need to specialize in orthopedics. Similarly, the CA profession also should get into specialization like forensic audit, specialization in IFRS, insolvency and bankruptcy. There's so many new areas, information systems audit. So many new areas have come up. I urge and request all the members of the chapter to see if they can enhance their skill sets. Pandemic is a good opportunity for you to spend quality time on learning. We have a lot of certification courses being offered by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. My request to each one of you is that if you're able to upskill yourself, that is the best way we could contribute to the nation where we are working. Currently, I am undergoing a certification course on forensic audit, which I find it very useful and very good, wherein we are able to enhance our skills in audit. So my request to each one of you is that, yes, you need to specialize in all of the day. We are moving towards specialization. Number two, we need to embrace technology. We're talking about big data. We're talking about robotics, process automation. We're talking about artificial intelligence. We're talking about blockchain technology. Whether we as chartered accountants, whether we have adequate knowledge, we need to understand. Being on the board of the IFAC, International Federation of Accountants, when we did a study of technology adoption in our profession across the world, let me tell you, friends, technology adoption amongst the CA profession is very poor, not only in India, across various jurisdictions. I think we need to step up. So IFAC red flagged this issue, and we decided that, yes, we need to ensure that members of our profession embrace technology. So each one of you watching this webinar should try to understand that, yes, there's a need for you to understand more about the emerging technologies so that we could contribute to see how best technology can be used. Today, banking is happening on a technology platform. Education is happening on the technology platform. Entertainment industry is running on an online platform. So it is absolutely essential for each one of us to be, and with the increasing cyber frauds that are taking place, we are the right professionals to identify whether the frauds can be minimized, trying to see how best we can help entities to conduct business online. So you need to embrace technology. You need to understand new trends in technology, and that will help you to contribute better to the organization where you're working. Number three, we need to promote good corporate governance. Friends, what is happening is that we find that frauds take place almost everywhere. And when frauds take place, I think that is because of poor corporate governance. We as professionals can usher in good corporate governance. If something is not happening the right way within the framework of law, we need to alert the management. We need to see that good corporate governance is followed by the organization so that the organization can uphold the values and integrity of the nation. That is very important. Number 4, friends, which I would like to say is we need to be ethical. Ethical is something very important. Code of ethics is a part of our curriculum when we did CA. In every aspect of our life, every decision what we take, we need to see that we conduct ourselves ethically because we are subjected to scrutiny. Not only public scrutiny, scrutiny by your bosses, scrutiny by your management, scrutiny by your peers, your juniors. We are subject to scrutiny, and it's absolutely essential for us to be ethical. And these are some of the suggestions which I thought I should make. I'm sure all the members watching this webinar, good luck on this happy occasion. And there's a great opportunity for you, not only to offer your services to Oman, but in any other country also. Tomorrow, for some reason, you say, we worked in Oman for 20 years, let us go back and settle down with our family in India. I would like to say and assure all of you, you're most welcome to come back to India anytime. And India is a land of opportunities. There's no fear for any of you to say, could we get a good job in India? Can we get into consulting in India? There's plenty of opportunities. I would like to assure all our members that in case you decide to come back sometime later in life, the country is open and you are most welcome. And we would like to see how best we can support you. Thank you, Ramanand Prabhu, for having invited me. Good luck to each one of you. And I wish you good luck and a great future on this special occasion, on the occasion of the National Day celebration. I wish good luck to all of you and all to our Omanese friends, because I've met the Omanese nationals, many of them when I'm doing my visit to Muscat. I can only say they're very nice people, very humble, very hospitable. Mr. Nadir and Mr. Fatiq, I can just say that all of you are very kind and very nice. You've been very good to us. We are really thankful to you. We are really grateful to you. And we are very lucky to get the support of, your country for the benefit of all our members settled in Oman. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Sir, now I request Devi sir to formally present a certificate to Mr. K. Raghu sir. Devi sir. Devi Kalugran ji.
Devi ji, unmute kirji. Please unmute.
Yeah, good morning and welcome, Raghuji. I had excellent opportunities many times to listen to you and to listen to your wisdom. And you have been a very active and knowledgeable and lovable person and one of the best presidents of the ICAIs, So welcome you, sir, to this function of Oman National Day celebration. And I wish you all the best. Thank you, sir.
Now I request Jim sir, Jim Joseph.
Thank you very much, Raghuji. And as you have rightly pointed, we had a meeting with His Excellency, Saud Nasser Al Shukeli, the Chairman Tax Authority of Oman, last week, along with my, Vice Chair C.A. Sanil Varghese, and taken the initiative to support the government of Oman for the VAT implementation. And the leadership of ICAI, C.A. Atul Kumar Gupta ji also extended the support, and we will take this initiative forward. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Jim to formally introduce our Chief Guest of Honor, Mr. Nasser Al Rawai.
Thanks, Raviji. Assalamu alaikum, Mr. Nader. On this auspicious occasion, I am happy to introduce Mr. Nasser Hamoud Al Rawahi. He is a founding member of the Association of Chartered Accountants of Oman. He is having more than 23 years experience in audit, advisory, business development. He also worked with some of the big four firms, and he left the practice as a director and moved to a government entity. Nader worked with the implementation, support and follow unit of ISFU, Tanfeed. He's lead of the quality assurance and corporate planning team, and currently in Oman Vision 2040 PMO office. Nader is also the head of technical committee of the Oman Association, and he's coordinating with the various international chartered accountant associations. He's also a member of the Institute of Internal Auditors and he is a certified fraud examiner also. So with these few words, let me welcome Mr. Nader to address the virtual gathering. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Nader.
Yes, hi. Thank you. First of all, thank you all for extending the invite to me and my other fellow Omanis to celebrate together, we and ICA chapter of Muscat, the National Day of Oman, the 50th National Day. This shows to everyone a lot of things. Mainly, what I can say is for the last 50 years, Oman and India worked together hand in hand to build this great nation. And CA Raghu, when he came to see Oman, I can assure you that development that you have seen was under our late Majesty Sultan Qaboos, may his soul rest in peace. But together, hand in hand, Omanis, along with Indians and along with other nationalities, we built this great nation. So I would like to take this moment to thank each one of you of this contribution that what you have done in Oman. And as Mr. Prabhu, the current chairman for president of ICA chapter of Muscat, I know him for a long time back, and I even know a lot of members like Mr. Davis. Davis is just like my father, very key, instrumental of developing the profession in Oman. And before 2-3 years, I remember quietly, I still remember the incident when we met, we had our first meeting to form the Association of Omani Chartered Accountants in Oman. I have met Mr. Prabhu. I don't know, I was thinking what he was doing here. Did he came to the wrong meeting or something? But I came to know that he was showing support till that, since that time. And along with other colleagues of the Indian chapter, Muscat, I'm very lucky and honored that Indian chapter has never given up of its belief on the profession. They never gave up on trying to promote and trying to train young Omanis throughout the profession. This shows that once you are a CA, you should never give up of doing the right thing. As if you see the mountain, you should always try to crack it, and one day it will crack. By saying this, I think Mr. C. Raghu also mentioned the good achievement I can declare now on this National Day celebrations, that a young baby has been born. The young baby is the effort of all these years throughout all members and past board and presidents of CA India. We finally have been called by the government, by the minister's office, to talk and accepting about the Omani Chartered Accountant Institution. And the Indian chapter in Oman has made this collaboration. And by saying this, I congratulate all of you by helping us Omanis make a dream come true. So thank you, Indian chapter Muscat. Thank you very much, and all the other members. The previous message and advice and wisdom from CA Raghu was very instrumental in shaping the future of Oman also. The world is changing rapidly. Our new vision, Oman 2040, has a lot of pillars. One of the main pillars is adapting to the change of the world in terms of technology and other new trends in the world. So we as CAs and the profession should not just stop and say that that's the future. We have nothing to do about it. Before we go to clients and advise them, we ourselves have to understand what is the technology all about. What are the new trends in the market and the global happening. So we have to understand before we go and provide insights. When Prabhu was called and his other colleagues were called by His Excellency Saud Shikeli. This shows that Oman is always ready to hear from others, because we are a young developing country, only 50 years, compared to India, which has a lot of roots and years in this profession. So we always like to seek knowledge, seek understanding, and most important, seek learning. If we at this age, like Mr. Davis and all other members, even your past previous president of CA Indian institution said just now that he is still seeking and doing certification of forensic audit. That shows us all that learning is never done by age. It's never stopped by time. It's a continuous journey till the day you have the breath and soul in your life. So to that, I encourage everyone and myself also, keep learning, and the sky is the limit. We all have to help each other. We all talk about teamwork. We all talk about working together and aiming for the goal. And that's what we are very proud to see. Indian chapter Muscat is always hands to hands with not only the private sector, but with also key decision makers in the government. And also they always open their arms to everyone to join their events. Such learning events I have attended, and I came out with very new information and lessons that I took it personally to myself as a commitment to develop myself and how to transfer that knowledge into my place that I'm working in. And if we all stick together as a team and we push and work harder, I'm sure one day we will see the result. In your case, all of you have done the exams of CA. I'm sure it wasn't an easy task. It was a very difficult task. You burned the midnight oil. Thousands and thousands enter the exams, but only few hundreds pass the exam. So that gave you commitment that nothing is impossible. So I believe we should never quit on a sincere objective, the right thing to do, regardless how many difficult times you'll face, how many rejections you will get. But if we believe that this is the right thing for the country, for the global, and for the organizations that we are working in, then never give up. By saying that, I'm very happy that all of you are celebrating with Oman the National Day, the 50th National Day. This shows that it is not only the Omani's National Day, it is the National Day of whoever is in Oman and worked in Oman and developed Oman. So this National Day, we all send our congratulations to His Majesty Sultan Haytham on this National Day, and to everyone who lives in Oman, to you, to everyone. And even the time that Mr. Raghu, C.A. Raghu, he is in India, in Bangalore, but his heart is pumping Oman National Day. So to that, thank you very much. And I wish you all a pleasant and a successful journey in building this nation towards achieving our objective 2040. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Ustad Nasser Al-Rawahi, and we also ensure that we are all with you to take this journey forward and to build the nation to the next growth level, inshallah. Thank you very much. Jazakallah khair.
Now I request just C. Espal Mehtaji, our past chairman, to present a token of appreciation to Mr. Nader. Espalji. Espalji.
Good afternoon, everyone, and I am so grateful to Mr. Nader Nasser Al-Rawahi. And what touched me the most were these two sentences. The first was that it is not just the National Day of the Omanis, it is the National Day of all those people living in Oman. And for me, having stayed in the country for 38 years and now moved to India, my heart is still in Oman. And I'm waiting for the day when I will be making a visit to this lovely country and all that it gave us. It gave us peace of mind. It gave us the opportunity to interact with the Omanis. And I will, therefore, I'm delighted to hand over the certificate of appreciation.
Thank you.
Please on behalf of the ICAI Institute. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, sir. Now thank you, sir. Now we will have another guest of honor, Mr. Fatih Balusi. I'll be introducing him. Mr. Fatih Balusi is our CFO in Oman Cement Company and has more than 15 years of experience in oil and gas and petroleum industry. Before having the Oman Cement role, he was associated with Oman Oil Company, where he was a finance manager for Omonia project, and he also worked as a finance manager for OO and Salala Methanol Company as well. Mr. Fatih assumed the head of the finance and IT roles in OOC, Oman Oil Company, and prior to his association with Oman Oil Company, he worked with Oman LNG, and where he assumed various roles within the company, including external affairs, supply chain, and finance. Mr. Fatih, an alumni of the Sultan Qaboos University and University of Lancaster. Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Fatih, we welcome you to the event to have a to celebrate our National Day. Mr. Fatih? Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum, gentlemen and young ladies, whoever joining the chapter celebrating the 50th National Day. We are so glad to have such a professional cadres all around from the Indian fellows having this kind of celebration all together. And what we feel such a commitment from your side and appreciation for the nation and the people is a commitment that will always bring us to the best position, hopefully within this vision of 2040, articulating the growth and stability on a sustainable basis. I would say my fellow brother Nader has already put nice scenes of whatever we feel of the collaborative approach that you are putting by profession, by practice, by citizenship, by the feel, by the heart pulsing that you are a local rather than being quite an expat. And we are so counting on your kind of determination to bring this nation to another dimension of growth, not just on the development of the economy itself, but by far the development of the people, which you are really taking care. And I would give another testimonial. Maybe Mr. Rago has spoken about a gentleman in UAE or Abu Dhabi, highlighting that most of the people of the charter ship, specifically those ACAs, CAs, and whatsoever, if I compare, I would love to be having the Indian fellows next to us. I would say, from my experience, I've witnessed all those different charter ships. And I say that such a qualification, I would always appraise Indian CAs as one of those top quadrants. So such a kind of credit, we'd always try to give it as a kind of attestation to the profession that you are passing in a good quality and support to the nation, to the people, and to the profession. I would urge you to look into another dimension. Yes, you might be sometimes submerged with so much of responsibility, duties, and operational requirements wherever you are. Please take care of a few hours, care of a few minutes each day in the mentorship, in the dedication to put those young fellows, Omanis, put them to the map and the roadmap to deliver themselves as a professional people, as well also take them into a more of, I would call it a planned way of achieving their kind of chartership if they are on the road. If they are not, then take them from the comfort zone, because life is just another ocean and everyone is competing. And if we don't have that kind of commitment, we don't have that zeal and feel to put our people ahead of the others, we are almost to catch the train late, which is not the statement here. And I reflect on Mr. Rago's statement on technology. The new norm is there for us, and we have young fellows who are of high tech and gadget field. So let's utilize this. I have seen most of you guys so committed, and the people whom I'm interacted with, they are really making it a kind of a nice environment for growth. Nice environment to feel that there is a difference by having a knowledgeable professional mind around than a kind of a guy who is just a young fellow with no graduation or with a basic graduation. So you add value to us, but I would say if I'm gonna take this in a forefront plan for any kind of strategic planning subsequently, I would say we would need to use the co-create. We are co-creating new norms. We are co-creating professional discipline in place. We are co-creating development and growth stories together. To the Omani citizen, to the Omani nationals, to the whole people living on this ground, I would say congrats for this 50th National Day, and our sincere kind of congrats goes to His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq, and may our late Sultan Qaboos' soul rest in peace and granted heaven for all the development and the commitment that he brought and prosperity. And we wish with your collaborative support, with your co-creation for values, that we will be another kind of better nation than we used to be. As a further advancement, and I wish to close with the whole kind of word of thanks to the members, to my fellow colleagues, Mr. Ravi, Mr. Deepak, and the people, Mr. Ganesh, Mr. Manesh, those who are really helping me through, helping us as an individual, as an individual, and us as a kind of executive to bring real structure, real governance, real discipline in the practice, and we improve together. So the co-creation value of values is already on quest, and the team are working it. So for all of you, thank you, and we celebrate all together as one nation, one body, and one ground. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pratik. Your words.
Thank you very much, Ustadi. We are so grateful, and we are more than happy to work together and take this collaboration, forward and work towards the vision of Vision 2040 of His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq. Thank you very much.
Now I request C. Anuradha Venkat, who is our past chairperson, to present a memento to Mr. Pratik. Anuradha ji. Anuradha ji.
Hi, National Day to everyone. I've had interaction with Mr. Through phone, and it is my great pleasure to virtually see him and also present this virtual certificate to him. Mr. Fatik, your message was indeed very insightful.
Hello, Anuradha ji. Anuradha ji. Anuradha, unmute yourself.
Anuradha ji, please unmute. Anuradha ji, please unmute.
Yeah. No, there's some issue with the network. Can you hear me now? Yeah.
Yep.
No, I was saying Mr. Fatik's message very insightful. As head of finance or CFO of a very large publicly listed entity such as Oman Cement, he is leading by example, and I have no doubts that he has inspired a lot of young Omanis to follow his footsteps. And congratulations, sir, and thank you for being part of this ICAI Muscat chapter's 50th National Day celebrations. And indeed, my pleasure to give you this virtual certificate to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Anu. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Now I request Deepak ji to formally introduce CA Dr. Ashok Haldia ji.
Good morning, distinguished panelists and our fellow colleagues, members and invitees. It is indeed a great privilege and honor for me to introduce our former secretary of the Institute, Dr. Ashok Haldia. It gives me immense pleasure because I also had the privilege of being a part of the team as a CFO or Senior Joint Secretary heading Finance and Administration when Dr. Ashok Haldia was our secretary. And I can only say that he's a great leader, very able administrator, and apart from all his professional qualifications, a person who has been instrumental in bringing the Institute to what Institute is today. There are many contributions from different eminent personalities, our very dynamic presidents and council members. But the person who really was in the process of implementing leading the team of our entire ICAI was Dr. Ashok Haldia for a very long period. On his professional qualifications, friends, Dr. Haldia is a chartered accountant, he's a member, he's a company secretary, he's a CMA, and of course, he's a PhD. And he has been with the Institute for a period of about 10 years or so as secretary of the Institute, which is the executive head of the Institute. And being executive head of an institution with such a large membership base, you know, we are running into, I think, if, maybe that figure may require an updation, but about 250,000 active members, about 1 million students spread all over the world, and maybe those we have about 250 branches, many regional councils, decentralized offices, international foreign offices, foreign chapters, and secretary is a nodal point to coordinate, to lead, to provide administrative support to all this huge infrastructure. So Dr. Haldia has been there, and from an institute which was confined to the role of regulators and bringing it to today's vast network of professionals all over the world. Apart from that, Dr. Haldia has been a member of Appellate Tribunal for ICAI, ICSI, ICWAI, and he has been member of several other committees set up by Government of India, by International Federation of Accountants, South Asian Federation of Accountants, and SOCHM and CII. He's also a former MD and CEO of PTC India Financial Services Limited, PFS. Prior to being with Power Finance Corporation and the ICAI, he has been holding senior positions with the government of Rajasthan, and he has been with their finance corporations. Dr. Haldia, as I know, has played a very important role in bringing the Secretariat of South Asian Federation Accountants to India, and he managed the activities so well that his efforts have always been recognized by this international federation, apart from his role in bringing India to an international forum of IFAC, CAPA, SAFA, and all these international bodies. See, friends, Institute of Chartered Accountants of India is a very large body, and the person who leads the institute requires a very high level of professional, technical, administrative competence, because the institute plays a role of not only imparting the education and training to the chartered accountants under the Chartered Accountants Act 1949. It is also regulating the profession. It is also acting as an advisory body to the Government of India and to various international forums. And it is also expected to take care of benefits of members and also to create newer opportunities and avenues for them. Dr. Ashok Haldia's contribution at international forums in bringing the Chartered Accountants of India to the level of being recognized as finance, accounting, and finance professionals all over the world, and also making our professional qualifications compatible and comparable with foreign institutions, maybe Institute of Chartered Accountants of England and Wales, it may be Institute of Chartered Accountants of Australia, and several other institutions are really worth mentioning here. I think if we start like even only mentioning about his achievements, the time allocated for the entire seminar will be running short.
Agreed.
So I would not like to stand between Dr. Ashok Haldia's address to our members in Muscat chapter today. And I would request Dr. Haldia to share his thoughts. I think he's one of the most appropriate persons to join this webinar today. And I would like to congratulate CA Prabhu, CA Ravi, and MC team for bringing Dr. Ashok Haldia to us to address our members here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Deepakji.
Thank you. Thank you, Deepakji. Thank you very much for such a generous introduction. I don't think I deserve, but I deserve the introduction that you have given. But what gives me the most pleasure is good words from the CFO of the Oman Siemens, the Fatiki, about Mr. Deepak Dixit. I feel very happy as Mr. Deepak Dixit has been one of my colleagues who have supported me and ICAI in carrying its role and responsibility further. So thank you. Mr. Prabhu, the chairman of the chapter, Mr. Surendra, the secretary, Mr. Raghu, the dynamic past president of the ICAI, Mr. Nadar Al-Rawahi, Mr. Fatuki, and Mr. Ajay Kumar, the chairman of London chapter, Mr. Davis, the old colleague, and I remember those 8-10 years when I worked with the Oman chapter, Mr. Davis, and also the father of Mr. Rawai. And I was very happy with this morning when Mr. Davis told me, and when I inquired about His Excellency, the head of the State Audit Institution in those years, that his son would be attending. I recall my association with the State Audit Institution and Mr. Rawai, and the executive members of the chapter, ladies and gentlemen. It's indeed a great pleasure for me to be here on the occasion of the National Day of the Oman. So my compliment to you all, my congratulations, and my best wishes for you to continue to perform the role that you have been in the past and you are continuing to, and I believe you would continue to do in the future. It was so gratifying to hear from Mr. Fatiki and Mr. Nader the role that the accounting profession in Muscat is playing in the development of the economy of the Oman. I recall my interaction with the government authorities, regulators in those years, and how appreciative they were of the Indian chartered accountants individually and collectively as a profession, individually in terms of the personality, professional attribute that they possess, and that though Mr. Fatuki so eloquently outlined, and also collectively as a profession contributing to the growth and development of the Oman. On this occasion, let me also congratulate to the chapter and the accounting profession for being so vibrant and active. For me, it's a great pleasure to be here yet again and meeting and interacting with the members of the Muscat chapter. I have been to Muscat number of times, and in general, in the entire region, the Dubai, Doha, Abu Dhabi, and Bahrain. And I've been interacting with the, I did extensively and also on and off and now with the chapters, the members, the government officials, Trade Industry Association of the Oman. I recall, as I said earlier, my interaction with the State Audit Institution and also the MOU that we entered into for development of the accounting profession, institutionalization of the accounting profession in Oman, and also for recognizing the Indian accounting profession in the form of setting of a chapter at the Muscat. And I'm happy to note that in 2008, the chapter was in place. And at this stage, I must recognize the contribution that the chapter, its office bearers, and also Mr. Davis played in bringing the chapter into being in the Muscat. And thank you for the valuable support that you have given reputation and the brand of the accounting profession worldwide. Mr. Prabhu rang me up, or Mr. Ravi Prakash rang me up, requesting to address the Muscat profession on the success story of a chartered as a chartered accountant. I have been very reluctant. In fact, one of the chairman of one of the regulatory body in India, few months ago, suggested me to write my memoir as a secretary of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. And I laughed it away. But the call from Mr. Ravi Prakash, followed by Mr. Deepak Dixit, I accepted the invitation, and in retrospect, I feel that I did the right thing. It enabled me to go down the memory lane and recall my 30 years of service, and also in particular, the 11 years that I spent in the ICAI. I believe I have a different connotation for the word success. Whether one is successful or not, sincerely, it is not his own belief. It is the perception of the others. There are no successful or unsuccessful people. It is not as simple as that. It is particularly a question of perception. And success is always an unfinished agenda. You do not achieve success by reaching to a position, but by a milestone to the another milestone, and making a contribution, making a difference to your organization, to the society you live in, and to the nation you are in. From that perspective, I would share not the success which I believe or others would believe that I have achieved, but I will take you through my journey, particularly in the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, because I'm addressing a gathering of eminent chartered accountants serving in Muscat. And I would more deal with dealing with an institution, dealing with a professional at a national and international platform. As all of you, I also aspired for becoming a chartered accountant right from my school days. And we all know what it requires to become a chartered accountant. The hard work, the grit, the determination, the perseverance with the hope of making difference to the profession and to the society. To me, it was all the more important. I did prepare for civil services examination for 3 years in continuation, but I did not appear in the exam because the civil services exams were in all those 3 years were in conflict with the chartered accountancy examination. And I preferred the chartered accountancy as a career than as a civil servant. As I said, the success to me is a different connotation. To me, it means that you have a certain attributes in your personality, in your DNA, and those attributes are integrity of thoughts, integrity of purpose, and integrity in action, commitment and passion, and lastly, but to me equally importantly, is think differently and act innovatively. And these attributes, then one has the ability, innate ability to translate into the results and the actions. Now, if one doesn't have these attributes in his personality, then he cannot be a natural leader. He can act as a leader. He can pretend to be a leader, but he cannot truly be a leader. So it's important that one gains these attributes, one acquires these attributes and translate them into his job, into his career, into his life. And as the famous Gita says, that believe in the action with a purpose, success will be there. And remember, the more the turbulence you encounter, more successful you would be. And the success that you gain would be far more resounding. And in all these, developing these attributes, if the most singular role lies, that is of the parents, and the value that they give and the sacrifice that they made, and particularly the the chartered accountants or the managers of my generation, most of whom came from a middle or a lower middle class families, that infusing the value into the individuals goes into making of a successful individual or a successful chartered accountant. While we enjoy the success without being often successful, our parents remains unsung heroes. Now, I started, as I said, the chartered accountancy I most aspired for. After that, I continued my education because I always believed the knowledge is a continuing. The knowledge makes a chartered accountant, and knowledge makes a chartered accountant famous, makes a chartered accountant make his place in the profession and the society. I continued my professional zeal and in acquiring the qualification of the company secretary, the cost and management accountancy, and later on, as late as in 2000, my doctorate, and in an area which was most contemporary and relevant in those days. I have been in my professional career of 30 years, have worked in different kind of organizations with the varying roles and responsibilities. And the every new organization was different than the earlier organization. The role and responsibility that I assumed were different than the role and responsibility that I assumed in the past. And in some of these positions, believe me, there were no major takers. And these included my job at the ICAI. And some of these jobs came to me inadvertently. I never aspired for. These were incidental or accidental, maybe because I made some commitment in some social function or otherwise when I was inquired about, and they proceeded ahead in their selection process informally or formally. And later on, they came to me that we have decided to go ahead. Now, possibly, as I was and I am, it was difficult for me to say no, and my journey into the new career started. So, and believe me, I haven't got jobs which I aspired for in my life. The job that I got, these were the new organizations. Some of the roles and responsibilities were highly challenging. As I said, there were not many takers. Some of these organizations were highly in distress. The roles and functions which I assumed were not active. Those were not being pursued. Very relevant for the organization, very relevant for the state, very relevant for the nation and economy. But those were not being pursued actively. So you can assume, you can have a feel the kind of challenges that I would have encountered on taking every new job. But believe me, that I took as a great opportunity. It gave me an opportunity to transform the organizations. It gave me the opportunity to create the place for the functions that I performed in the state and in the nations. That could mean the institutionalization of financing of a small and medium-sized enterprises. That means the management, performance, and reforms of the state public enterprises as a whole. That meant the reforms and restructuring, both internal and external, in the state power utilities in the entire country and under the World Bank and ADB line of credit. And that also meant in the ICAI, I will share my experience in the ICAI a little bit. But these organizations, which others consider as distressful, or the roles which others considered as non-lucrative, gave me enough opportunity to place myself within the organization, in the state, and in many cases at the nationwide platform. I joined in my initial careers the organizations. Possibly I was the first chartered accountant to be there. I joined the government of Rajasthan with the only chartered accountant in the government of Rajasthan. And possibly no one would ever thought that a chartered accountant would be joining a government job. But and this being a chartered accountant in the government, they raised the expectations in the entire government that look, here is a chartered accountant. And believe me, these expectations and the onerous burden on my shoulders of being a chartered accountant, living up to the reputation of a chartered accountant, was the driving force in my career. Whenever I interacted with the political heads or the bureaucratic heads in the state, outside the state, or even at the national level, I always kept in mind that, remember, they have a feel that I'm a chartered accountant. If I'm not prepared well, if I'm not professional in my approach, the image that they would get, hey, look, he's a chartered accountant. and he has not been able to deliver. That was possibly one of the major driving force in my entire career. When I was in the government of Rajasthan, when I joined, I met the Chief Secretary. Chief Secretary is incidentally the head of the bureaucracy in any state. And I joined by accident because I was a member of a committee and somebody in the committee inquired, would you like to join us? And I possibly in a non-serious face said yes. He spoke to those who mattered in the state governments and then communicated, look, we have taken a decision in your favor. The Chief Secretary called me and said that you should not feel disappointed. You know, by joining the government, you would know how worse the things can be managed. And that's a big lesson to learn as to how you should manage that the things should not go bad and how well to manage the things. That was a great sentence from him. And believe me, the entire function was transformed, and that became one of the most prominently placed functions in the department in the state. Let me take you through my career in the ICAI. It was again a chance interaction that made me to join the ICAI. I was already selected and I was on move as a director finance of one of the public sector undertaking in India. An office bearer of ICAI met me, maybe as a part of their search process, and he said, why don't you join ICAI? I said, no, it's not a job for me. He said, what's the problem? At least you appear for an interview. And I appeared for an interview. I recall that 1.5 hour interview. And believe me, I was highly critical with whatever background that I had at that point of time of the profession, of the role that the ICAI was playing. And also because I was already moved to join as a director finance of a PSU. And that was to be a young, and if I would have joined, I would have been youngest ever director finance of a PSU in India. So I was very forthright, very frank. Whatever I felt about the profession and the ICAI, I narrated and we discussed. And lo and behold, they were possibly so impressed that they felt that this is the right person for being a secretary of the ICAI. And they persuaded me to join the ICAI. Now, and again, as I said, I was in my late 30s. It was highly challenging. But let me give you what makes, what is the approach that one should adopt to. And out of the experience, what is that one needs to do in order to be able to perform your job well, without keeping in your mind whether you are successful or not. First and foremost was that you understand what the organization is, its organization is structure, its role and responsibility. You may be a secretary, you may be called as an head, but then it has its governance system. One need to understand and one need to become a part of that governance system. It is very easy to disrupt a few hours to disrupt an organization, particularly the position that you occupy. But it's very difficult to build an organization. However critical you might be, you need to keep into mind that you are there to build an organization, to carry the organization forward. You are part of a channel. You are a part of a value chain. And you have to, if you need to bring the transformation, you have to bring the transformation in the entire value chain. And the ICAI, for that matter, understanding the character of the ICAI is very important. It's a regulator, it has a public interest role to perform. It is a professional body with interest of the large number of its members and students in mind. It's an educational body. It's a body for continuing professional education. It's a disciplinary body. And more importantly, it's a body which contributes into the policy making, economic, fiscal of the nation. And lastly and not least, a standard setting body in auditing and accounting. A multifaceted role. You will not find any organization with these kinds of multifaceted role and a complex governance system. The important is that one need to find out what is the significance out of this, what is the significant role this organization needs to perform in which you serve. How to public interest is far more important because it cannot be like a trade industry association. I'm just saying what I learned and what I thought about. And this learning also goes, maybe some of you who are young managers. It's a public interest body. It's not a merely a trade and industry association. You need to strike a balance between what the public expects and what the profession would like. As Mr. Raghu said in the beginning, the role in the public interest, the ethical governance is far more important for an organization like ICAI. The another thing is very important is that you need to create the niche value for your organization. Because if you want to survive, you want to grow, you need to have a niche value different than your competitors. A niche value where you focus and you grow and develop your organization. And if you lose focus from that, then the relevance of the organization slides. And possibly, then the government and the others do start questioning the very relevance or the continuing existence of that organization. ICAI has faced that phase as well. And again, I like to refer, though I said that I focus only on the ICAI, but it's very important for all of us to create a niche value. And the niche value arises, what are the limitations of your competitors? Build your strength on those limitations. Society, start serving those unserved needs. I joined a nascent organization amidst a huge competition, large financial institution supported by the government. Now everyone start laughing and laughing at me as well as to what made you to join such new organization. But we started looking into finding our own place in the market. We created the niche value and we were able to create that organization and bring into a prominent institution in the country. So the point I'm trying to say is having a niche value, creating a niche value, focusing on the niche value and shifting the poles, because the moment you create a niche value, you would have 2-3 times your competitors entering into that arena. By the time competitors enter into, you have to move into the new arena. This was equally applicable for the organization like ICAI. And believe me, ladies and gentlemen, this is equally applicable for a practicing chartered accountant or a profession. Now, the other thing that I would focus is that when you are in a position, what's the time? We need to continue. Do we have some more time?
So we can hear. You
Sorry?
can go for a couple of minutes. Sir. You can
No problem. Okay. Often in India, often there is a, the language of the virtual conferences also. If the host starts appearing on the screen, that's possibly a signal to the speaker to end. So I will take another 10 minutes more. Yes. Yeah, no, I was just saying that, whenever you are, you need to create, you need to raise the profile of the position that you occupy. And when you raise the profile of the position, then you also raise your own profile. When I joined the ICAI, I had two things in mind. In less than 10-15 days, seeing what the normal function that the Secretary ICAI is performing, I said, in the next 6 months' time, I would not be doing any of the functions that the Secretary currently is doing. Not that some of the functions are regulatory, the Secretary only has to require to do. And believe me, with the delegation, decentralization, and empowerment, in next 6 months, I was not doing 90%, 95% of the things which the 6 months before the secretaries, the persons occupying those positions were doing. I shifted my focus to the strategy, to the policy, to the brand development, to the international development. The institute has a governance structure. There is a council, there is a leadership of the president and the vice president and the council members. You have to be a supporter of that. You have to provide them effective mechanisms to translate policy into action. And that's what the focus that I shifted. The another important thing for all of us, wherever we are working, to realize the strength of our organization, the strength of our institutions, and then assess, are we at the rightful place or not? And if not, find ways to create those, to fill those positions, to raise the organization to that level. The India was one of the largest accounting profession. And we had the international accounting profession. We had the international accounting platforms like IFAC, CAPA, SAFA, and ICAI in Indian accounting profession was not having a significant presentation. The ICAI was not able to play the role that one of the largest accounting body would be expecting to play, or should be rightfully be playing. Now that was something that the institute was looking for. And our challenge to the international accounting fraternity was, international accounting platform, that we need a place in the governance system of those international platforms, be that IFAC, CAPA, and SAFA. My question and our question to all of them was that how these organizations can think of globally without being ICAI active part of their governance system. And the ICAI was able to have place in the board of IFAC, many of the committees of the IFAC, the presidentship of the CAPA, and also very leading role at the South Asian Federation of Accountant. This SAFA, Mr. Deepak Dixit highlighted that even in the Kargil days, the SAFA was a close-knit body. Everyone was looking at ICAI as a big brother, as a reservoir of knowledge. And our focus was that every member in the subcontinent should be only a telephone call away. And we made that happen. So if somebody in India has a problem and just want to understand what's happening in Sri Lanka, he could anyway talk to the Sri Lankan professional and get that assistance. And that was, so basically the profession in the South Asia was, in that sense, was integrated, and SAFA became, the apex body of SARC. In the case of mutual recognition agreement, and for that matter, the reciprocal movement of accounting and professional services, there was so much pressure on the Indian accounting profession politically and bureaucratically to allow the accountants and accounting firms of other country to India. And we took a strong position that we are willing to, but we should have a reciprocal arrangement. And despite the pressures at the international level, we were able to resist and desist. The accounting bodies globally were trying to present in India, ignoring the concept of bilateralism in the international relations and the local laws. We desisted and didn't allow. The point I'm trying to say is the organization will need to realize what are their strengths, and they need to work on those strengths. Friends, I have a couple of other things to share with you. Two small points that I would share is that the crises do come before the organizations, and they keep on coming at a regular intervals, particularly the modern day organizations. The ICAI was no exception. But the challenge of a leader or a successful manager is to convert those crises or threats into opportunities, and opportunities into actions. The ICAI on many occasions felt the threat of the government threatening that they would bring the alternative institutions or clipping the role of the ICAI. But the ICAI rose to the situation, reformed and adapted to the changing expectations and the requirement. We had Arshad Mehta scam, the Enron, the Satyam, and the latest, the PNB and others. Every crisis made the ICAI strong. So the system that you have, FRRB, peer review, internal audit standard system, accounting and assurance standard boards, they are all outcome of those response to those crises. And lastly, I would say, in any organization, the customer is the king. At any level of the organization, you need to focus on what your customer expects and meet his expectations level in terms of those servicing. And once you start doing it, the back pressure comes on the entire value chain for internal and external reforms that led to delegation, decentralization, and capacity building in the organization. What the organization required was the massive computerization to be enabled to service 1 lakh members and about 4 to 5 lakhs students. And an organization which was 60-year-olds with 70 to 80% of its employees in a high age group, non-computer savvy, this was a challenge. And we brought it about, taking the organization together, and in 3 years' time, 95% of the things that we were doing were through the automation for the service of the members and the students. So the customer, that is the members and the students in case of ICAI, those have to be driving force in bringing the internal reforms in the organization structures. The work-life balance in a life of an executive is very important. And that means that you not only for yourself, you ensure that work-life balance, but also for the entire organizations. And there has been a great learnings in that respect. I remember one day at 3 o'clock in the morning, I was going from ICAI office to my residence. I received a call from head of a multilateral institution in New York. And he rang me at, Ashok, is it right time to talk to you? And I told him, look, I'm still on my way from my office to home. He was surprised. He said me one sentence which changed my approach to the work-life balance. He said, Ashok, you do not know what you are missing in your life. I missed my children's growing up. That sentence from that day changed my approach to work-life balance. And every day after 7:30 or 8 in the night, I would ask myself as to why do I need to stay in my office? Why I can't perform that job during office? Why my staff needs to stay after 7 o'clock in the office? Why I do need to come on Saturday and Sunday? Why we cannot perform those jobs while at home or while in the working days in the office itself? And Some of the departments in the ICAI, they were working 24/7, and believe me, literally it were 24/7. We made that 10/5. So 10 hours, not more than 10 hours a day in any situation. And this approach brought a total reform in the internal governance system of the organization. Lastly, I know I can go and go. It's a huge organization, and the 30 years of the service experience. It's a team spirit that is important. As I said, being an executive or at any level, you are part of that organizations. You are accountable to somebody. There are entire organizations which works to support you. You need to take them along. You need to be part of that, and then bring change in a subtle manner. And the current times are turbulent times. That subtle manner also means that at a speed pace, but without causing disruption in the organizations. And lastly, I will end by saying that when I was about to join ICAI, the head of the another professional body in India, who had known to me, cautioned me against joining in ICAI. He told me, Ashok, I know you as an individual, your personality attributes. You are only 36, 37 years. You will not survive in these organizations for more than 6 months. Please take my advice. Do not join. You have a long career before you. I joined the ICAI, and his words I took as a challenge, and I kept at the back of the mind. And I'm not saying whether I was successful or not, but certainly I did live up to best of what I thought is my role and responsibility. With that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for inviting me. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for inviting me. And it's always a pleasure to be here. And I wish you all the best, and also the growth and development of the Oman, and in the process, the growth and development of the accounting profession in the Oman. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ashok Haldiaji, for your sharing your insights and taking us deep dive into the ethical and professional standards and the values. We withstand and take us and inculcate all this in our day-to-day professional life. Thank you very much.
Now I request Asta Rangan, our past chairman, to present a small token of memento.
Hello. Thank you, Dr. Ashok ji, for your inspirational talk and your journey with ICAI. Sometimes it becomes very important for all of us to listen to motivational talks, especially during such difficult times. So on behalf of the chapter, I would like to thank you a lot for sparing your time and speaking to us on a special occasion of the National Day. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now, okay.
Thank you, Ashok Haldiaji.
Thank you, Asaji. Now I request Jibu, Mr. Jibu Joseph, to introduce our next speaker, Mr. Ajay Kumar, from he's the chairman of UK chapter. Mr. Jibu.
Yeah, it's my immense pleasure to introduce Mr. CA Ajay Kumar. He's a trade finance professional and having hands full of membership in ACA, ACWA, CFA, MBA, ACMA, ACAIAB. CA Ajay Kumar is a senior leader and a trade finance professional with one of the biggest interbank bank based in London. He has worked in 4 countries and with 3 biggest banks with more than 20 years of trade finance experience in addition to Indian financial institution SIDBI. He has a unique advantage of being a finance professional with a training on core information technology. Ajay expertise in the areas of trade finance, anti-money laundering, financial fraud, and robotic process automation. Is a current chairperson of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, UK chapter. It's my pleasure to welcome you, sir.
We welcome you, Mr. Ajayji. Ajayji. Ajayji, please unmute yourself. Yeah.
Thank you, Sir Jebu. Hopefully, you guys can all hear me.
Yes, sir. We can hear you, sir.
Thank you. Thanks, Sir Jebu, for the wonderful introduction. Thank you, Sir Ramanand Prabhu, for inviting me for this occasion. And, thanks to Ravi Devra and all your committee members for having me here. And, felicitation to all the panelists and all the speakers, all the prominent speakers before me. I would like to congratulate you on your National Day. I think it is indeed a big day to celebrate your National Day and have so many, dignitaries and speakers, great speakers on this occasion. So I think that's a great event. Now, I don't what exactly, I should start my, journey. I think I was told by Ramanand Prabhu and, Ravi to talk about my journey, how I, came into this, how I became CA, how did I, how I am, where I am, right? So I think I'll start from my very childhood. When I was a kid, I was probably good at mathematics, and I heard the word called chartered, and people used to say engineer. So I thought I'll become a chartered engineer. That was kind of my thought I had. But when I finished my, education in the what you call the GCSE, or in some cases you call 10th, or in India we call it matriculation. I always had a dream of always going for the best. So I was born and brought up in Patna and thought that the best science college I have to get admission in. And there is no second best, right? So but with my marks in my 10th, I couldn't get the admission in the best science college. So I said, okay, if not the science college, then I'll go for the best commerce college. But have to be the best. It has to be the top one. So that's how I moved from science to commerce and did my commerce degree. And then I thought, okay, but I wanted to become a chartered. Now what should I do? Then I heard, okay, I can become a chartered accountant. So that's where my journey to become a chartered accountant started. And then again, being a family from the middle class family and being a Maori, we always had the kind of thing that, okay, like you must work as soon as you become eligible to work. So like after I did my 10, my father said, okay, good enough. You have studied enough. Now let's go to work. So I said, okay. And just to add, by that time, I already knew how to write accounts. My father, used to write his own account for his business. And in those times used to be a big red Bahi khatas, if you guys, some of you may have seen for sure. And when I was in class 5 or 6, he used to, he used to train me to how to write. So I used to write that Jama and Name and the posting and the casting. And then, in those times with the manual Bahi khatas used to have the, posting, and trial balance never used to, tally, because there will be some mistake here and there. And that's where I also got my expertise in how to, find the, errors and omissions in the posting and the, accounting, and how to tally the trial balance. So by the time I got admission into my, college, I already knew that what is debit credit, how to make trial balance, and how to finalize accounts. And at the same time, I was also working. So journey was like in the morning, get up, go to college, study for 4 or 5 hours, and then come back, have breakfast, and go to work for all 7 hours, 6 days a week. And that's how it kept working. When I did my graduation, that's the time I thought, okay, now I have to, start my CA journey. So everybody said, okay, so you'll have to resign from your job or, like stop working and do the full-time CA. And I said, that's something I can't do. I have to do both things simultaneously the way I have done so far. And all my friends, they were, like doing coaching, they were doing, like full-time studies and all. And I said, okay, but I can't afford it. So how do I do it? So I said, okay, let's go. Let's see what happens. And I took admission in, CA, and that's supposed to be the cheapest program ever. So in terms of money, there was hardly any investment at that time. If I remember correctly, it was some 200 or 300 rupees, which was, like that. It was still a big amount for me, but if you think of the amount, it was nothing. So I got admission in that, and then I thought, okay, like I have to do the articleship. So fine. So I can't do the articleship and do the job. So I discussed with one of the CA there, and I said, look, I want to do the articleship, but at the same time, you understand that, like I need to earn. So what should I do? I said, okay, you do the full-time articleship, but I'll make sure that, I understand that you have lots of experience and, you are not the, like a trainee articleship kind of thing. So I will give you due, for you. So I said, okay, that's fine. So I started working as an article with him, as a full-time article, and he always used to introduce me as his, like a senior associate, and always, like used to do for the complex work, which I always enjoyed. And then when I gave my first examination for inter, and I decided to enter for both group. Now, obviously, I had not taken any coaching. I didn't have time to study, but I had a discipline of studying at least 1 hour in the morning after just getting up. And with that, I could clear both my groups in one attempt. And that was kind of a big boost for me, in the sense that, like I saw all my friends who were doing full-time study with coaching, and they were not able to clear one group. And without any of those support, I could clear both groups in one attempt. And I gave all the credit to my practical experience and the, like the understanding of the accounts in depth. Because, like I could understand the accounts in much depth than compared to my peers who were probably trying to learn it theoretically from the books. So I think that made a huge amount of difference for me. Now, after I finished my CA, by that time I was actually already got married. I didn't even finish CA, I was just inter, and I got married. And then I was saying, okay, what to do? And I also did my ICWS, CF, and MBA. By that time, I was doing all this simultaneously. And then I was giving some examination for some banks, and I was selected for a small industry development bank of India as assistant manager in Mumbai. So I said, okay, let's go there. So I moved to Mumbai. I'm still not CA. I'm still just CA inter. I joined SIDBI in Mumbai. A good post, good position. So first day when my CGM talks to me, I said, okay, so you are a finance graduate. Okay, great. And also you are doing CA. So let me have you in my finance department. I said, okay, sir, thank you. So I went to the finance department. I was supposed to be the toughest job of trying to reconcile the incoming and outgoing fund from the 40 branches. And my previous, guy who gave me the handover was an engineer. And he created the big, mountain for me. He said that, look, Ajay, this is a very tough job. You might have to work 14 hours or 15 hours a day. It's take too much of time, and it's a very difficult thing, very complex. I said, okay, I'm the new guy, but let's see. And then when I started the work, and I found that the work was pretty easy. So I could finish the work in probably say 2 hours rather than 14 hours. And I had lots of time in my hand. So I started learning about all the other experienced guys were doing. And then in the next 6 months, I was called by my CGM and said, hey, Ajay, you have done great. And we want you to move to something which we have very difficult handling because we have lots of irreconcilable differences between the branches. So you go to inter-branch reconciliation. I said, okay, I will do it. I moved there. And again, like in 6 months, I could clear all the differences. So again, I got, good credit. And then I was immediately transferred to the, finalization of account. There I was preparing the balance sheet for SIDBI, presenting it to IDBI and RBI. So that again was a huge, achievement in my, style. And at that point of time, I was thinking, okay, what next? I'm bored. I have 5 years, I'm in Sydney, and I'm doing the same job again and again and again. What I'm going to do again? And in the meantime, one of my seniors in Sydney, he had joined Citibank in the, that time Citibank had started in 2001, the back office in India. And one of my seniors had joined them, and he was quite impressed by me. So he said, Ajay, would you like to join Citi? I said, why not? So I went there, got interviewed for the trade finance position, which was a trade finance manager for North America and Latin America operations. So the first thing I was asked, do you know about trade? I said, no, I've read something in my books, but actually I don't know anything about trade. Oh, you'll have to manage a team of 40 people. So how will you do it? I said, I'll do it because I have one clerk reporting to me now as I'm Sydney. So maybe one, I can handle one, maybe I can handle 40. But I don't know anything about trade finance. I thought he won't select me, but he still selected me. So then that's why my journey to Citibank started. And the first day when I'm on the job, I was told, oh, you have to do full night shift. That was another, surprise for me, how to do night shift. Because I've never, ever in my life had done a, a night out, or rather, not sleeping in the night. Even during my examination, I used to sleep at 9 p.m., get up early in the morning and then study, but never did the, whole night kind of study. But yes, that was a challenge. Again, I make sure that, I have to, meet my challenges. And while I managed to do the work, also I had to learn the work from my juniors, and which I again did. And again, it went pretty well for me. And from that, again, it was, worked quite well for me in Citi. I worked for there 4 or 5 years. Then one of my seniors asked me that, Ajay, will you like to come to Ireland? We have a great problem here. And I see that, you can change lots of things. So we need your help. I said, why not? It will be a dream come true, because I always thought that, I can go to a foreign country and study and work. So came to Ireland, and the things were quite in a mess, which again, I took quite effort to correct it. But again, in 2-3 years after that, everything was in good shape. I was given lots of responsibility, promoted, everything happened, and I started feeling good. What do next? What's next? Because I always like challenges. I always like something new. I can't do the same thing every day. And that's the time when JP Morgan offered me a job for India and Singapore as the head of controls, risk and control for India and Philippines. I said, okay, I'll take that job. So I moved to India, and after 10 months, I was moved to Singapore as the head of risk for APAC for JP Morgan, which I did for almost 2 years. Then another one of my seniors who had joined Barclays, he called me and he said, Ajay, I need you in UK. We have created a new role for the global trade operation head in Barclays, and I want you there. I said, okay, why not? So again, I came to UK in Barclays and joined as global head of trade operations. Did quite well for 3-4 years. And then again, my old boss from Citibank called me and said, Ajay, we need you in Citibank. And I had promised him when I left Citi in 2010 for JP Morgan, I promised him that whenever you'll call me back and you have the good position for me, I'll come back for you. So I said, okay, I did promise you, and I'll come back. So I came back to Citi, and now for the last 5 years, I'm in Citi handling quite some of the global, operations from the, regulatory point of view, because there are some regulatory issues, accounting related issues in our trade finance business, which I'm handling now. So that's what I'm doing. So I think, what's the learning from my journey? I think, and what can I tell my youngsters, or the fellow CA students, that what they should do. So one thing which I think I learned from my journey is have the confidence in you. Never lose the confidence. If you think you can do it, you can certainly do it. You will do it. That's the first thing. Second thing is, there is no problem which cannot be, conquered. Every problem has a solution. Of course, you will have the limitation of resources, but that does not stop you in making things happen. So without doing any tuition, without doing any coaching, without having full-time study, I still cleared CA, which I do here even today. That is a very difficult exam, and like you need like to do lots of dedication. Of course, you need lots of dedication. Of course, you need lots of information, lots of knowledge. You have to do study, but doesn't mean that you need to study 15 hours, because I feel that's just a diminishing value. When you keep studying for the long period of time, it's a diminishing value. You stop like absorbing after some time. So it's better to study in the morning when you are fresh, study less, but understand more. The practical experience has no like match, and that I think that one of the big advantage of a CA degree, that you do a 3-year article set, and that gives you lots of practical experience, which gives you actually the in-depth understanding, right? So I think that's the third learning I will say. The fourth is that if even if you are in a difficult situation, if you're in a new situation like I was many of time, don't give up. Don't listen to others that it's a difficult, you cannot do it. You have a different approach. You have the confidence, you have the knowledge, you have the experience. Don't go by somebody else who is doing that. Okay, it's difficult, you can't do it. Of course you can do it. Yeah. So Ramanji, it's okay. I'm doing on time. I'll finish in probably in 2-3 minutes.
Yeah. Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Sir. We want to hear from you, sir.
Thank you. So I think those are the learnings from my experience, and while I still have the inclination towards technology, and I actually wish to manage that. I wish to like tell you that. So after I did my graduation, somebody told me that like these days computers have become a in thing, and that was in 1988. So why not you do something in computers? And as I said, I had some like always said I want to become an engineer. So I said, okay, what is that? So in Patna, that time there was the first branch of NIIT was open, and they were, like started some course. So I went there and said, okay, what are the courses here? So they said, we have a course called COBOL. And that was, I think, I forgot the name now, computing oriented, business oriented, long way, something like that. Yeah. And there was a 6-month course. That was their first course they had started. So I said, okay, I'll join. I didn't know what a computer was. I've never seen a computer in my life before. And I said, okay, I'll join the COBOL. So I joined that course, and that was 6 months. They started with, like the flow charting, and then the logic, how to build the logic and how to build the programs. And I did all the 6-month course, and I was the topper. So again, it gave me lots of confidence that, okay, again, I can understand computer. So my teacher asked me in the class, okay, what you guys want to do after doing your course in computer? I said, look, I'm now a finance expert, and I want to remain as a finance professional. But I believe that after learning all this 6 months, that IT is going to be a future. So what I want to have is a finance professional with a background in information technology to merge both of them. And actually, if you see after that, I also did a course on DBase 3, 1, 2, 3, and then on Oracle DBA. And the like learning of this technology and the understanding of finance has given one of the unique advantage of understanding the IT guys and understanding the process finance guys. So in most of the, like in our banks, most of the time happens that when IT guys are talking to the finance guy doesn't understand anything. Hey, these guys are talking nonsense. And the similar thing happens on the finance side. So both guys probably don't understand each other. And I then become the key. So that's why I'm doing lots of projects, which is actually involving huge amount of technology and the huge amount of understanding of accounting and finance. So that's where it comes to a unique advantage for me, which actually I'm, like getting lots of respect for that. So I think that's another thing that, like you need to be, keep changing yourself. You need to understand what's going to happen in future and how you can, like make, merge your journey. So like we always choose a path, right? So when as I said, when I was a kid, I chose a path that I want to become an engineer. But again, I was a quite adamant guy that time, and I always used to think that, okay, this is the way I want to go and the only way I want to go. So that's how I became from chartered engineer to chartered accountant. But still, I could see that how the world is going, how the things will change. And that's how I also imbibed in my journey in IT. And now if you look at the world, we are all talking about RPA, automation, and I'm working on lots of those kind of projects where we are talking about we can automate everything. We don't need people to work. But and sometimes some of my team members come and say, Ajay, we are very afraid what will going to happen to us. Like if everything is automated, what we are going to do? I said, look, I have seen the time when there was no computer. My first computer I saw, it had a 16 KB of RAM and a floppy disk drive to enter the MS-DOS. And today we are talking about a small, mobile phone with a 1 GB of, storage. So we have come the long way. And that time, when the first time people were seeing the computer, everybody thought that the job will be lost. There will be no jobs because the computers will do everything. We'll have nothing to do. And today, I think we have more jobs than ever. The computers only helped us to fasten the process, to get the information much faster, and enabled us to do much more. Similarly, I believe that lots of the routine work will be automated. We will have more time and more energy to focus on high-end work. And while we need to, keep changing, we need to keep, adopting, but the future will be that we will have much more, refined work, high-level, complex work, and maybe artistic work. We will have to be more creative rather than keep doing the same thing again and again and again, right? So I think that's the kind of journey, and that's the kind of probably understanding and confidence people have to have. And they probably need to see that what can happen in 10 years, not that what will happen today. And many times when I also do some of the volunteering work, I go to school, and that some of the students ask me, how much you earn? And I say, does it matter? If you are working for earning, if you're working for money, you will still be a laborer. Work for passion. Work what you believe in. Work what you enjoy. And once you do that, the money will be the sub-product. It's a byproduct. So money should not ever be the main expectation for you. Lots of like even CA students come to me saying that we want to move to London because we've heard that's the most salary. I said, please don't think that way. Think that what you want to do, what you enjoy. If you think and if you can do what you enjoy, then the money should be the just a byproduct. And at the end of the day, what you're going to do with money. The basic necessities of life does not need lots of money. You do need money. I'm not saying you shouldn't be ambitious, you shouldn't be aspirational, but not that money should not be the main driver. Your driver should be your passion, what you enjoy, not the money. So that's again another message for the people who would like to get into the career, and they always think that, okay, which career give me more money? Please don't think that way. Think that which career will give me more satisfaction, more internal satisfaction, happiness. When I do something, and if I enjoy that, that's the time when you are living your life, right? So with that, I'd like to stop, Prabhuji. You are on mute, sir.
Thank you very much, Ajay ji. It was a pleasure to have you, even virtually. Actually, you were supposed to, deliver give the presentation at Muscat chapter physically. Because of this COVID, we were not able to host you. Okay, and thank you very much for joining live. And we look forward to see you physically when we come to normal.
Absolutely, I still have my ticket. So
I know your
ticket is still there. It is just the date has been changed.
I know. So I know, and you also have our open invitation. Thank you very much.
Conference, we will invite you on the virtually there as well. So now, Prabhuji, you need to felicitate Mr. Ajay Kumar because almost all the past chairmen is being exhausted. So you need to felicitate Mr. C. Ajay Kumarji for his speech.
Thank you very much, Ajay Kumarji. On behalf of the Muscat chapter, it gives me great pleasure and honor to, as a token of our love and affection, to present these e-certificates to you on the 50th National Day celebrations of Oman.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ajay, and we'll miss you. We'll see you in the our physical event as well, sir. Okay, now I request CA Sanil ji to present a formal vote of thanks.
No, listen to me.
You want to say some few past statement to speak?
Mr. Nader Rawai.
Nader Rawai, can we take a good photo?
Yes.
No, I request Nader Rawai to present this e-certificate to Ajay.
Sorry.
It's a very good honor. Thank you very much. We have learned a lot, and I totally agree with your wisdom words that we should not work for money, we should work for passion. And I'm sure everyone here in Oman, especially the Indian chapter Muscat, I can see them and I feel and I know they're all working for passion to make a dream come true. Thank you very much. Please accept on behalf of the Indian chapter Muscat this e-certificate. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Nader. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now, Sanil ji, Sanil Varghese to present a vote of thanks.
Okay. First of all, let me thank our past president, CAK Raghu, for being the chief guest of the day. Okay, and his what you call oration or the speech was an inspiring speech for all of us. And secondly, we had Mr. Nasser Hamoud Al Rawahi, who had who inspired us by this speech. Thank you, sir, for being with us today. Again, we had Mr. Fatih Al Baluchi, who is leading the Oman Cement Company, what you call prestigious listed company in Oman. Thank you, sir, for being with us and for giving us an inspiring speech today. Thank you, CA Ashok Haldia, for his valuable address. And lastly, CA Ajay Kumar for his inspiring speech. Now, coming to our past chairman, CA Davis ji, CBA Paul ji, Anuradha ji, Asta ji, all for being present today, as well as all our members who took time out this Saturday morning to be with us in this what you call National Day event as well as the CP event. Thank you all. And last but not the least, thank you CBFS for being our sponsors and their continued patronage to the chapter. Thank you all for being with us and have a nice day.
Please wait. Let us have a group photo. Please on the
please wait for
videos. Ustad Nader, please smile. Cheers.
ABC, please switch on your video. Yes, sir. Team, you can take.
Yeah.
Done?
Done. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Deepak ji.
Thank you, JVC.
Thank you, Sierra. Thank you, Dr. Haldia. Thank you very much. Thank you, Davis. Thank you, Mr. Nader.
Deepak, thank you very much for your participation. Long time. And, and to Nader also, you did a wonderful speech.
No, it's we learn from you guys.
Excellent.
We learn from you guys.